What's up, guys? So we're here. Before we go forward, I want to thank Tom Lahaki SVK for letting me use this video. I am going to let this play in the background because as I talk about this game, I don't, I'm not going to really focus on bugs or glitches. There's no point in doing it. There are countless videos covering it. There's countless other people talking about it. Um, there's no point in me doing that. I didn't discover something that wasn't already discovered by other people in terms of bugs and glitches. I want to talk about other aspects of the game and more important stuff that really, quite frankly, the bugs and glitches are just a small part of the issue. This can be easily explained. I'm going to let this play in the background. Hold on a second. Right? So, as I said a week ago, this game was not ready for release. And you shouldn't buy it. I'll get more into that in a little bit. But this should never have been released. And the reason that we are where we are today is more of where I'm going. There are some things in the game that I found interesting, you know, uh, some things that are not bad. To me, the sound quality in the game, not counting bugs and glitches, for the most part is pretty good. Surprisingly good. The spotter's horrible, and there are some bugs and glitches, but really the overall sound of the game is not bad. It's pretty good, actually. One of the highlights. Graphics everyone's tired of hearing about are good when there are no bugs and glitches. And I did find the driving, the actual feel of the cars to be pretty good at most tracks when not encountering other issues in the game. Just how does this game drive and feel? It is a big improvement over Heat. It doesn't feel arcadey, but that's pretty much it. The paint booth, they did a great job with it, but you can't use it in career mode, which we knew, but now people are saying you can't use it in online multiplayer. So I have to wonder what the fuck was all of this effort put into the paint booth? What's it for if you can't use it in core aspects of the game? I know there's some people out there that only care about online or other stuff. The core of any sports game is always going to be the career mode. That's all there is to it. If you can't use your custom schemes in career mode online, what the fuck is the point of it? In career mode, you sign contracts and your name does appear in a very well drawn out statistical compilation. There's all the stats anybody could ever want, and for someone like me, it's very important. Your name pops up there, and that is where you sort of are lost in the career because you're really driving as someone else. You are role playing. If you sign to take over Joey Logano's car, Joey Logano's name is still on the car. Your name doesn't appear on the car anywhere. Even though you signed a contract, it's your career, you're driving. So you are role playing as someone else. That is really not immersive. If and when you win a race, you're going to see Joey Logano. You're not going to see you. There is no custom way to just have a representation of you as a driver in the game. Um, Nothing is working. There are people who said that there's going to be these magic patches and they're going to fix all this stuff. And it's not even worth arguing about. I'm sick of telling people that there is no magic patch. These games take a while to fix, and we haven't seen, rarely seen games that are this broken, this unfinished on release date. So it's going to be a long, long ride waiting for multiple patches. I'm sure they'll fix some things. Some things seem easy to fix, like this steering assist. That should be something easy to fix. But even if they're able to fix all the bugs and glitches with some magical patches, okay? The bugs and glitches are just part of the problem. The real problem has to do with the business model that surrounds these yearly release sports games that I talked about a week ago. I told you guys not to buy the game. And the other big problem is the community. I've seen in other comment sections on Twitter, still, still people that still come out to this day telling people that you have to buy these games in order to support the company so that they can make better games. That is a load of shit. I've been talking about this for 10 years. Repetitive. I'm just repeating the same shit every year. I've been through this cycle several times. I've explained to people that until you stop giving these people your money and you wait until they actually give you a product worth the money, it's not going to stop. There's no incentive for these guys to stop. Yes, there are things in this game that show promise, but people don't buy products because they have potential. They buy products because they work. They deliver something. Whatever it is they're supposed to deliver, they work. That's why you buy a product. It's only in the video game community, the industry, where consumers actually believe it's normal to buy games that they know full well are not finished, have massive bugs and glitches, need a lot of work, and it's acceptable to go out and still buy these games. Buying these games not only immediately on day one, but pre-ordering. I told you a week ago, pre-ordering is not a thing. It's not necessary. The only people that benefit from pre-orders are the publishers. You don't benefit. There's no point in pre-ordering. We're not in those days anymore where you have to stand online outside GameStop around a bunch of strangers after you pre-ordered a hard copy of the game that you're waiting to be allowed in the store, where they have your copy that you pre-ordered and paid for to give to you when you show your receipt. That doesn't exist anymore. It's not a thing. It's not necessary. We live in a time where you don't even have to put on your fucking pants. You can literally stand in front of your computer in your underwear, drinking coffee, downloading the game digitally. That's the way most people get their games anyway. What is the point of pre-ordering? You aren't doing anybody any favors. This is why they offer you things like paint schemes, uh, or playing the game 2 days early, because they know they're not really offering you anything. So they throw in a little extra something just to entice you to pre-order. This is for their benefit, not for yours. I told you guys don't buy the game. You waited long enough. Why can't you wait a while longer, a couple of weeks? See what happens. See how these magic patches do their thing. And yet, I saw other comments on Twitter and other people's videos, comment sections. There's always people that pop up and say things like, I don't think anybody should tell anyone what they can do with their money. Fuck you. Why am I even bothering? Why have I spent 10 years talking about this shit? Talking about the same things? Because the gaming community is largely to blame for what you see here. You keep supporting a broken business model. It is impossible to develop the kind of games that we expect in a year. And even the first games, this game, 2.5 years, a lot of people are saying they should have had it done. That's plenty of time. No, it's not. You know how I know? Look at it. Look at the product after 2.5 years. This tells you it's unfinished. There's not enough time put into it. I told you this needs another 6 months in the oven, maybe longer. This isn't ready. I told you it is irresponsible for Motorsport Games to release this game in this condition. And don't tell me they didn't know the condition of this game. When they released it to us in early copies, they released it with the first day patch. Okay? And if it's in this condition today, what was it looking like months ago? I would never have approved releasing this game for this release date. Months ago, I would have said, we need to postpone this. Now, I've also heard people bring up NASCAR and this licensing agreement, and they have to do it. They have to release the game. Listen, there's an old saying, contracts are made to be broken. As rigid as a contract is, there are situations where you can restructure a contract, you can make accommodations. Don't tell me that if Motorsport Games showed NASCAR the state of this game months ago, that NASCAR wouldn't have said, okay, let's do this 2022. I personally said I would have. They had a golden opportunity to revolve this entire game around the next gen car. They could have released this in 2022, maybe the end of the spring, early summer. They would have had at least 8 extra months of development. They could have centered it around the next gen car, which really helps the marketing. There's a whole new generation of NASCAR games coinciding with the release of the next gen car. Also, the release could be closer to the release date that you ultimately want to reach. This would all give you more time. That's the problem with this game. There's not enough time. This isn't about the developers, the guys actually working on the game. They're doing the best they can in the allotted time they're given. And that's the sad part. Everybody's going to be looking and blaming them. Looking at them saying they suck, they don't have talent, they don't know what they're doing. They're not being given the time to do their job. And I don't care what it is. If you rush a job, no matter what it is, it's never going to be as good as giving someone the proper time to do the job correctly. It needs more time. But instead of delaying it of finding ways to deal with the situation. They went full speed ahead, said we're releasing this game no matter what, come hell or high water, and we'll just patch it afterwards. And there's people asking questions like, my God, I can't believe they would release a game in this condition. Well, then you haven't been paying attention to the gaming industry. This has been normal for years. This was what developers do because they know that the gaming community is full of lemmings willing to give them their money no matter what. I told people don't buy the game and wait. And you had people saying things like, I don't believe in telling people how to spend their money. And then people still coming out, even days after watching countless videos showing you the mess, and still saying, I'm pre-ordering. I can't wait to download this game. You even had somebody post a video just 2 days ago saying that the game that the early copies we received wasn't the real game. It wasn't the final game. It was an early version. It just one guy posted a video saying there's another 12 gigs coming on release day. This is the community we have. A lot of things you can blame these publishers and developers for. But it's time to look in the mirror. I've been telling people the same shit year after year for 10 years. Just go, you don't even have to go back that far. Go back to my NASCAR Heat 5 review and I was talking about the same stuff. This is the only community full of consumers who are willing to buy broken and unfinished products. And they still perpetrate this idea that it you have to support these people financially because that's how they make better games. I've been arguing against that for 10 years. Before I started doing videos 10 years ago, there was this thing called the Eutectics Forums. When they first started making games, they had a forum. And in that forum, I've had countless arguments. That popped up way back then. People saying we have to support these guys. They're a small developer and this way they can make better games. And I was arguing against that back then. I was explaining to people that's not how business works. Consumers willing to take financial responsibility for the future of a company creating bad products, the only place you see something like that is in the video game community. And even now you have people saying we have to support them. There's even some people who've reviewed the game and said, don't panic. They're gonna fix most of this stuff. You're gonna have a decent game. Not me. I'm not doing that. And I probably will never get another early copy ever again. And what can I tell you? I'm not compromising who I am, my integrity, who I've been. Those of you who've followed me for 10 years or even not that long, but you know I'm consistent. I'm telling you the same thing you've been hearing for year after year. Nobody's listening. In those same Eutectics forums, I I I was arguing with people. I told people, how do these guys release games with no stats? And I'll never forget, someone responded to me and said, just write down the stats on a piece of paper or a notepad like I do. That was their response to me. This did not come from Eutectics. This came from another consumer. With consumers like this is why Motorsport Games, EA, all these developers, this is why they're perfectly fine releasing a product in this condition because they know they have Lemmings for consumers as a consumer base. What does it matter that we complain about the game when we're still giving them our money? I cannot continue to repeat this stuff anymore. I've had it. I've reached my limit. I'm just tired of talking about the same shit. 10 years I've been warning people. 10 years I've been talking about this business model. It's impossible to do some of the things required in the time that they do this stuff. This isn't just NASCAR. Go hang out in the Madden community for a little while. Let them tell you what's going on and has been going on for years. The same shit. EA doesn't even respect their base. They routinely insult their customers on social media. When their customers complain about stuff, they insult them. They make it sound like you're the problem. They don't respect their consumers because they know no matter what happens, they'll be back next year, they'll buy the game, they'll complain, but it doesn't matter if they're getting your money. If you don't give your money to these people, then they have to go explain to their investors and shareholders what's going on because they're going to want to know what's going on. If I'm an investor and I see this, I am livid and I demand answers because I want to know who the fuck made these decisions to rush this game in this condition, to release it even after a week where the entire community is showing this stuff to everybody, and you still go ahead and you're still asking people to pre-order. This is why it doesn't really matter what I say about this game. Even if they fix all the bugs and glitches. The fact that there are no mirrors in the game has nothing to do with bugs or glitches. That was a design decision. There's no stage racing. You can't use custom schemes in career mode. There's no private lobbies. There's no system to combat trolls. Even if they fix all the bugs and glitches. Bugs and glitches are not to blame for these things. No mirrors in a racing game. The mirrors in the cockpit. I even saw somebody say, use cockpit. Those mirrors are useless. You need a virtual mirror that you can toggle on and off. But the worst part of all, the worst part of this game, even if they fix all the bugs and glitches, even if they add a virtual mirror, even if they give you private lobbies, there's something that cannot be overcome. The AI. How many times did you hear me say, the AI will make or break this game? No matter how good everything else may or may not be, the core of the game is career mode. The core of the career mode is the AI. The AI is atrocious. They have no wreck avoidance. The caution system's broken. But even if you fix cautions, the way the AI is programmed is horrendous. Every race, no matter what track you're at, is Daytona, Talladega, just like you see right now. Every track. I've only had a couple of tracks where you kind of see the AI spread out. The AI, I told you, would make or break the game, and it has broken the game. Because even if they fix everything else, there's no fix for that. It took 704 4 games to get decent AI. And I have to give them credit. The AI in 704 in NASCAR Heat 4 is the best AI we've had in any console game. I'm not talking about Sims or anything like console game video games. And it wasn't perfect, but they would give you a competent green flag race. The AI here pits way too early, halfway through a run. If there is a caution, on the rare occasion there is, sometimes they don't pit and then they pit after the you go back to green immediately, causing a huge traffic jam wreck. Does that remind you of anything? It reminds me of Eutectics. It reminds me of NASCAR Heat Evolution when I complained about broken cautions. When everybody was complaining about that. When I was complaining about the AI pit logic being broken. They wouldn't pit when there was a caution. They would stay out, you would pit, and then you restart. And in the first lap or two, they are all pitting. And you lap the field. That that's a broken system. That's a game-breaking issue. And I caught it. There's no getting around the AI. I don't need to see if they have magic patches that fix all the bugs and glitches. And even if they add things like a mirror and private lobbies, this game is dead to me because the AI is so horrendous. I understand that the AI is the hardest thing to program, but this is why you take your time. Rockstar has delayed games for over a year, multiple times. But people, even when they're upset that they have to wait, when they finally get those games, they appreciate it. Because Rockstar, that the message they send to people is, we refuse to release a game that embarrasses us as a company. We have high standards. The message sent here by Motorsport Games is, we don't have standards. We only care about appeasing the shareholders and investors. And I guess if NASCAR demands this game out every year, no, come hell or high water, no matter what condition it's in, that's what we care about. We do not care about our consumers. They'll buy the game, they'll complain, and they'll have to wait. And if you think these people are still going to be working on this game 6 months from now, you're a fool. You haven't been paying attention to me for the past 10 years, and there's a limit to how much they're going to invest. They're already working on the next game. At some point, they're going to cut their losses and say, we've done enough. We've done what we could do here. We have to move to the next game. Whatever issues are still here, we'll fix it for the next game. That's why I said to you in that other video, the real patch for this is going to be NASCAR 22 Ignition. The game is already going to be outdated in a few weeks. When this NASCAR season is over, this car is an outdated car anyway. They had a golden opportunity to wait and have that game revolve around the next gen car. You could have taken another 8 months. That could have been your first game. It could have been more polished. And you could have made sure to add mirrors, private lobbies, and really squash all these bugs. And make sure that you can implement custom paint schemes in the career mode. Make sure that people's names are on the car. Make sure that you can at least have a generic character that represents you. That you're not role playing as another driver. What's the fucking point? There's potential here, but it's buried under so much garbage. Who cares? Normal consumers don't buy a product because it has potential. It either works or it doesn't. except in the gaming industry. The blame for this is on management and the consumer base. I do not blame the people actually working on the game. If you grabbed 10 of the best home builders and you gave them all the greatest tools and all the supplies that they need, and you told them, you build me a 2-story, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in 2 weeks that I can turnkey move in 2 weeks, they'll laugh at you because they can't do that. And it has nothing to do with how talented they are as home builders or their supplies. Time. It's ridiculous. They needed more time. They're not getting it. They knew these issues were here. I'm sure the developers working on the game were constantly reporting to their superiors, this shit's not ready. This is way off. We're doing the best we can. And the people making the decisions are just like, just keep working. Don't worry about it. We'll worry about it later. And of course, the decision is made, release this anyway. Who cares? Because this is normal business practice. Has been for many years. Let the customer wait for a fix that may never come. And you still hear people talking about a game day patch or this thing's going to be fixed soon. And like I said, somebody came out, made a video talking about this is just half a game these guys are showing you. There's another 12 gigs. And less than 24 hours after he downloads the game, he follows up with a video saying, this game is garbage, do not buy it. Never mentioning that he told people that the game that we got as early copies, that he was wrong, that it really was the game. This is the community we have. This is why we have what we have. Can you blame these people for making these decisions when you keep giving them your money? I don't play Monday morning quarterback. I don't wait till after the fact. I've been talking about this for years. And I told you guys, if the AI isn't good, that's it. And I said, this is the most important game motorsports games will ever release. It's their first game. It's their introduction to the public. It's over. It's over. This is a mess of historic proportions. And early on, I said the last thing these people can afford is to have a NASCAR Heat Evolution situation. 704 might still be making these games, but they never fully recovered from NASCAR Heat Evolution. And NASCAR Heat 4 was actually a decent game, but it was outdated. It was too late. It was really good racing against the AI, but it's an outdated game. And now we have another cycle of the shit we went through with Eutectics 704 and other games this isn't not just a NASCAR game problem. That's it for me. I'll still play the game a few times. I'm curious to see what some of these patches do. But there's no fix for that AI that I can see. Some people might say, well, they can patch the AI. I'm not sure. Can they really patch the AI behavior? The tendencies? The way they run? Breaking up these ridiculous fucking packs? Running 4 wide at every track? That's not going to get fixed. That is a long-term issue. It's going to take a long time. If you don't make them pay financially, nothing's going to change. And I guarantee you, you're still going to see people say, you have to support him. So it always takes 3 or 4 games to get to where you need to be. That's the mentality. Somehow, consumers in the gaming industry have taken it upon themselves to be responsible for the financial status of these companies. You can't make this shit up. And I've been warning people for 10 years. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm fucking done. I look forward to your comments. Later.